Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking with Jarid Beck. Jarid, it's great to connect with you. You create and manage insurance firms for businesses in a range of industries such as construction, real estate, manufacturing, trucking, and finance. It's great to connect with you. I'm looking forward to talking about this. I think it's an important topic, and I'm looking forward to diving in. Before we do, I just as a business coach, I like to start off by talking to all the business owners that I talk to, and I'm a business coach. I work with people who are successful, but stuck. I get them unstuck. So my question to you is, where's a recent stuck that you've had, and how did you get unstuck?
It's a great question, and I was actually enjoying in your book, the first chapter, Success but Stuck. It really hit home. So it's actually something we've been dealing with for a while now. So we started our company in 2004, and built it up over time, and just imagined it would be our little baby forever. Great lifestyle, growth company. But ultimately in 2019, we made the decision to sell. And so that was obviously a big decision and a good one ultimately, but then it begs the question of, okay, well, what next? How do we evolve? And that's something me and my partners have been contending with in different ways over the past few years. So,
so how do you evolve? I think it's a big question. I get, as a business coach, I work with a lot of people who are in those stages. I work with people who are getting ready to sell and ultimately sell their company, and then work with them on their next chapter or their next business venture. But there's like a mourning process when you sell something, right? And then kind of plugging back in. And so what's your process?
There was definitely a mourning process. And maybe one I wasn't quite prepared for. The company was our baby, so to speak. And then so parting ways with that is psychologically, something I think business owners definitely have to deal with. So having a plan, and then understanding that that's coming, I think helps. And then, moving into that next phase, there was a real tendency for me, to start getting flung too far away from, what made me good in the first place, right? All of a sudden, you're looking at investments that, although you may understand investing generally, you're looking at investments or projects or things that you really don't have any, necessarily expertise in. But now, we're going to be this entrepreneur, and we're going to get into all these different fields. And I think, for me, with a little bit of hindsight on it now, it would have been, as you move into the different projects, into the different fields, don't lose track of your superpower, whatever made you great in the first place. And then don't get, too deep into things where, you're not able to directly affect the outcome. So,
love that. Thanks for sharing that.
I don't know if that makes sense. That's
it makes perfect sense. I think community, we talk a lot about your superpower, your unique ability, and really focusing and spending time on that. I think it's a huge reminder, Jarid. Thanks for that. Let's talk a little bit more about your superpower, your unique ability, and then how, and maybe once you sell, you keep that fresh, right? Because sometimes when you sell a company, I've started and sold a company where your role is the same, but it's also a lot different. Your connection with the company is a lot different. Where you're needed, your company, you're not needed as much after you sell. And so it is
not welcome in meetings that you used to be in charge of.
Right. It's a really weird feeling. And so how do you do it? How do you find it? Where do you replace it?
That's been an evolution process as well. Part of it is, like, for me, has been repurposing what I define as exciting, even within the context of our business. So, early on, it was, literally me and the willingness to do every single aspect of the job just because, partially we didn't have staff, we didn't have, this founders mentality type stuff, right? Just, doing the invoicing, doing the sales, doing the, all of it. And then now, now we've got a team of, 100+ people that are very, very good at what they do. So, it's less, energy and enthusiasm around me actually doing the stuff, but it's watching other people, slide into those roles and grow.
Yeah.
That's actually as exciting as, talking about the actual stuff and the products that we sell.
Yeah. Let's talk about those 100+ people. What do they do and who manages them?
Yeah. So my partner is the managing director of, so we sold our firm, but we stayed involved. I mean, they were, it was a talent acquisition as much as, the client acquisition. And, we've been tasked with building out a practice to do these captive insurance companies. And, right now we're the 6th largest, captive manager for whatever, for what that's worth in the country, and growing pretty fast. So we'll be, we'll be nipping on the heels of the top 5 here shortly. And we're excited about that. And so collectively we manage teams now, and it's around the functions, the actual activities that we used to do. Now it's, kind of overseeing the people that are doing those, those activities. And for our part, it's, and, for those who don't know, so a captive insurance company, it's an insurance company that a business sets up to insure their own risks.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll we can get into the nuts and bolts of that, but it's multidisciplinary. So there's an accounting aspect, there's a regulatory aspect, there's a legal aspect. So our departments are tend to be more sophisticated hires. We're hiring CPAs, for the accounting aspect, paralegals or folks with legal background for that component, and then you have to be very organized and disciplined on the regulatory side. So so it makes for unique projects.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I want to get back to managing people. How managing people in office. Many companies are hybrid. Many companies are bringing people back to the office. Either way, the mentality is different. The cadence of a day in many ways is different. The morning routines are different. The accountability is different. How is your organization, and I think anytime you get past the number 9 and get to double digits, it's a different ball game. And so now you're at triple digits. And so how are you seeing management of people today differently than maybe a couple of years ago?
Yeah. So COVID hurts, or people working from home, it hurts from an emotional standpoint, because we always prided ourselves on having a great culture.
Yeah.
We hired people that, A, could do the job, but then B, that we liked and, would be happy spending time with. And so, what grew out of that was just a great culture. We were very close, and everybody still is, but you're remote. You don't see people, every day. It's once or twice a month, some more than others. And that piece of it is hard. Where I think we've been successful with it, it comes back to, maybe the hiring initially and the way we set the tone for, we're not micromanagers. So if somebody is looking for daily approbation or needs someone following up with them to, make sure they're doing their stuff, this probably isn't the environment. So we want people that are pros, that take pride in doing a good job, are willing to be accountable to the, us and the person sitting next to them, even if it's a virtual seat. So our people thankfully are able to work independently, remotely, and then, still connect with one another and, through, be it Teams, Slack, and whatever tools are out there. So, so that's been key for us. And even more so is, it's like, all right, is this person able to work autonomously and then, still, participate with the team and get the work done?
Yeah, I love that. Talk about you as an entrepreneur. You started this company, it was your baby. You talked about how the connection of it before you sold it. But just take me back to like just the idea and how it was built, where the idea came from, how you decided to, do it with the partners that you did. Because I think a lot of people are looking at entrepreneurship differently today, and they're maybe having a little bit more courage today than they did in the past. Their mindsets are one of, if not now, when, right? With especially in a post-COVID world. So just kind of walk them through kind of a quick gist of, where the idea came from and how it evolved.
Yeah. So for us, I met my partner in 2002. We were working in the financial planning space, really financial planners for business owners. And, we were at a small firm, so we didn't have the big resources, deep budgets, of folks that might've been working at other firms. So it was always up to us to have the creativity. If we were going to sit with a client or a prospect, why are they giving us time? And so it was always having the creative idea, being smarter than the next guy, and adding value that way. And that was how we kind of got, how I hooked up with my partner. He was doing, that kind of advanced planning that, appealed to me, and we started working on projects together. And it was through that process that we found this concept of captive insurance companies.
Yeah.
And at the time we said, well, man, it's such a multidisciplinary tool, multifaceted tool that you can use for business owners, lowering insurance costs, lowering taxes, protecting assets, that we decided to make that our full-time focus. And so it was having that creativity, adding that value, but then also moving into a space that not everybody was in. Everybody was, we're in the financial services space. So everybody's, pitching investments, insurance, and this was a niche area where, there was an ability to go deep and carve out a block. So, and that's what we did.
I love it. That's great. Finding the space and the niche, I love that. And I think go ahead.
Yeah. And I was just going to add, I think, so my partner's a little older than I am, is my mentor in many regards. And I think, you mentioned entrepreneurship, it's more common today, which is good. And I think, for people starting out, it is different because a lot of the roadmaps and playbooks are out there. If you want to lean into a particular space, podcast, the work you're doing, right? And then, so many other, great, teachers, mentors out there, it's more accessible than ever. But then it's also more competitive, right? So there's more people, getting after it. So you really have to be willing to lean in.
Yeah.
And I guess if we're giving advice, my mentality back then was, well, how can I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the skill sets. Certainly don't have all the skill sets, but how can I be useful?
Yeah.
And how can I add value to people who are doing what I want to do, and then give them an opportunity to pick me up. And then, 20 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
And I see a little bit of that missing with some of the younger people we see come in.
Yeah.
It's, well, what can you do for me? Or what can you offer for me?
Yeah.
Versus, it's like, having the hunger, to figure out how to be useful for the people that, you ultimately want to be like.
Yeah. I'm a business coach. I work with solopreneurs to Fortune companies, everything in between. I work with guys like you all over the country. But I just launched a second business, which is a coaching platform called Launch 3, and it's for 18 to 26-year-olds only.
Awesome.
And check it out. It's Launch-3. If you know anybody who's interested, and we have a whole mentor hub as well. You'd be a great mentor if you wanted to sign up for the mentor hub, where anybody who's a member, we have live workshops with guest speakers every Wednesday. It's a private LinkedIn group. and guest speakers. We have a whole mentor hub of just, tons and tons of every industry mentors that people, our launch 3 kind of vetted, through us, and, sign up. And it's a tool so they can get the tools that they're maybe not walking out of college with, right? They think they walk in with one thing, but they're not realizing the power of all of these other things that they need to kind of wrap into their world. And so it's, I'm really, really excited about it because, and it doesn't compete with my coaching business because those people aren't my clients in this business.
That's right.
Business. So it's teaching them totally different skills. I have a business partner. It's going to be great. Check it out. I will.
And my stepson doesn't know yet, but he's interested in the program.
Oh, good. Yeah. So look at it. You can sign him up. And I'd love to have you as a guest on that podcast, as well as check it. You'll see if you want to be a guest at one of the workshops.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
All right. Let's do a quick speed round. A book that's had the biggest impact on you.
Ooh. This fluctuates. Well, look, I've been revisiting Atomic Habits. I know that's
so good.
Popular.
James Clear, so good.
Yeah, and kind of what got me going back to it was his newsletter.
Yeah,
his 3-2-1 newsletter is pretty good. So I recommend. Well, I just brought up my stepson. He didn't want to read Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
So I made him sign up for the newsletter, and he gets his dose that way.
Yeah,
but a lot of good information there.
Good.
So that'll be my answer for this.
All right, good. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
Oh, best piece of wisdom I ever received. Man, a lot of good ones. The one that springs to mind, we've been talking about business and creativity, is, kind of the old sayings, if all you have is a hammer, everything has to look like a nail.
Yeah.
So, keeping yourself fresh, again, attempting to come up with new ideas, be open to new concepts. I don't know if it's the best, but it feels most relevant right now.
Good. Finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to tap into their entrepreneurial spirit is
figure out what your superpower is, and figure out how to apply it.
Yeah.
For me, it was, I guess it's gonna be a run-on sentence, but again, for me, it was just that willingness to do what other people wouldn't do. And I didn't have this isn't my department mentality. It was hey, these are all my departments. So that was it for me.
Yeah. Good.
Something else for other people.
Yeah. I love it. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they connect with you, Jarid.
Yeah, our ideal clients are closely held businesses and business owners with revenues anywhere from 10 million up to $1 billion. Companies that are high performers in their industry, doing it better than their peers, who are looking for interesting, creative strategies to, again, lower insurance costs, lower taxes, protect their assets. You can find us at riskmgmtadvisors.com. We just redid our whole website. Ton of great new information there. Certainly, hit us up on our YouTube channel, and we've got presence on all the socials as well.
Awesome. Jarid, thanks. I appreciate you taking time to come on the show. Think Community, always love having guests who are in alignment with my mission to help successful people get unstuck. Jarid, you shared a lot of great stuff, and I appreciate all of it. I want to highlight one thing, which is find your superpower, Think Community, because once you do, you get more in alignment with not only yourself, but your business, and everything becomes more fun, and it becomes a lot easier. So sticking to that, if Jarid can help you, please reach out. If I can help you, reach out. You can reach me at jondwoskin.com. Jarid, thanks, man. This was great. I appreciate you taking time to be on the show, and we'll definitely connect again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise, John. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it. We'll talk soon.